Okay, we're working on chapter 7, lesson 2, writing and solving addition equations. We're doing the extra practice on page 531. So number 1 was already done for us. And we'll do the check step on just maybe the first one, just to refresh your memory how to do the check step. But for sake of time, we're not going to do the check step for every single question. So number 16 is done for us. We have x plus 5 equals 11. And we want to isolate the variable x. It has a plus 5. We're not interested in what x plus 5 equals. We're interested in what x equals. So we subtracted 5 from each side, and this gave us our answer of x equals 6. Okay. Number 17, we have 7 equals 4 plus y. We're not interested in what 4 plus y equals. We want to know what y equals by itself. So we want to cancel out that 4. It's a positive 4, so we subtract 4. The subtraction property of equality tells us whatever we do to one side of the equal sign, we have to do to the other. So on the left-hand side, we have 7 minus 4, which is 3. Bring down the equal sign. 4 minus 4 is 0. So we can draw a slash through that because 0 plus y is just y. And we'll do a check step for this equation only, just for sake of time. So here's our check step. When you're taking a test or a quiz, you would want to check every single question to make sure you're getting your best score possible. So we always write the original equation, 7 equals 4 plus y. We substitute in what we are checking. So we're checking to see whether y equals 3. So we plug in a 3 here instead of the y, and then copy everything else directly underneath. So bring down the 7, bring down the equals, bring down the 4, bring down the plus. Now, the left-hand side is already simplified. Bring it down, bring down the equal sign. The right-hand side, we need to simplify. 4 plus 7 is, or excuse me, 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay, and the left side equals the right side, 7 equals 7. So we have finished our check step. Okay, number 18, we have 5 plus g equals 6. We're not interested in what 5 plus g equals. We're interested in just what g equals. So we want to cancel out that 5. It's a positive 5. So to cancel it out, we need to subtract 5. Whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other. And I always line up numbers with numbers. I can only subtract numbers from numbers. 5 minus 5 is 0, so that cancels out. Bring down the g, bring down the equals. 6 minus 5 is 1. So we have g equals 1. And on a test or quiz, you would check that to make sure you have it correct. Okay. For sake of time today, we're just not doing that. Number 19, d plus 3 equals 8. We're not interested in what d plus 3 equals. We're interested in just d. We want to isolate the variable d, so solve for d. So we subtract 3 from both sides to get d equals 5. Number 20, we have x plus 4 equals 6. So we're subtracting 4 from each side. 4 minus 4 is 0. So we have x equals 6 minus 4 is 2. And again, you would do the check step on a test or quiz. Number 21. 3 plus f equals 8. We want to isolate the variable. And I know that you can do these with mental math. Okay, of course, we taught you that when you were in elementary school, but we're learning the process of solving algebraically because the equations are going to get more difficult. That's why we're doing this longer process. So we want to subtract 3 from each side to isolate the variable f. 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, so we have f equals 5. Number 22, Enrique and Levi together have 386 trading cards. If Enrique has 221 trading cards, how many does Levi have? So together they have 386. So Enrique plus, oh, sorry, Enrique has the 221. So 221 plus Levi equals 386. Okay, so we subtract 221 from each side. And we get L equals 6 minus 1 is 5, 8 minus 2 is 6, 3 minus 2 is 1. So Levi has 165 cards. Elliot is 63 inches tall, which is 9 inches taller than his cousin Jackson. So Jackson's height plus 9 equals Elliot's height, which is 63. So Jackson's height plus 9 more inches is 63. So we want to subtract 9 from each side. So J equals 54. Okay, so Jackson is 54 inches tall. Inches can be written with the what we would call in language arts class quotation marks. Okay, so that's inches. So Jackson is 54 inches tall. J equals 54. 24. The table shows the heights. The table shows the heights of 3 monster trucks. Bigfoot 5 is 15 point. Excuse me. Bigfoot 5 is 4.9 feet taller than Bigfoot 2. Write and solve an addition equation to find the height of Bigfoot 2. So we would say 15.4 equals x plus 4.9, and then we would subtract the 4.9 from each side. Okay, so 10.5 feet. Okay, or we could use the single 10.5 feet. What we would call it apostrophe in language arts class is what we call feet in math class. Okay, so 10.5 would finish out our table. Number 25, we have some fractions. And I know you can do this in your head. How many tenths plus 8 tenths equals 9 tenths? Well, 1/10 plus 8 tenths equals 9 tenths. We can do that in our head. But again, we want to show this algebraically. So we will subtract 8 tenths from each side. Okay, 8 tenths minus 8 tenths is 0. Bring down the t, bring down the equals. 9 tenths minus 8 tenths is 1/10. Okay, number 26, we have 5/8 plus how many eighths equals 7/8. I know that you can do this in your head and say 5/8 plus 2/8 equals 7/8, but let's show it algebraically. Subtract 5/8 from each side. 5/8 minus 5/8 is 0. So we have m equals, and then 7/8 minus 5/8 is 2/8, which is not a good answer because it's not simplified. So we would simplify that to 1/4. Okay, and then number 27, we want to isolate t, so we subtract 1/4 from each side. So we get t equals, this cross cancels, t equals 2/4, which is not a good answer because it's not simplified. We would simplify that to 1/2. Okay, so that was chapter 7, lesson 2, extra practice to help us to prepare for our quiz. Chapter 7, lesson 2, extra practice, page 531.